Hey everyone, this is Alpaco and I was asked to do a ProRes Raw ISO test. So I took this opportunity to compare it to in-camera footage as well as regular ProRes footage using the Atomos Ninja V. For this test I measured the exposure using the histogram and exposure value bar. There's very little difference in half stop intervals, so I just show the footage that are a full stop from each other. All footage is ungraded. When shooting in ProRes Raw, ISO 400 is the lowest value you can use, which is also the lowest value when shooting in OM log 400. Because ProRes Raw is recording directly from the sensor, there's two things to note. There's no sharpening and no noise reduction being done. So even at ISO 400, the footage is noisy and soft. Another note is the footage in camera and regular ProRes is downsampled, which definitely makes a difference in sharpness and detail. Comparing ProRes Raw and in-camera exposure is very different. Again, I use the histogram and exposure value bar to ensure everything is identical. You'll notice the footage in camera is akin to what you would assume each exposure value should look like. This is because ProRes Raw is ungraded and the in-camera footage has something baked onto it. By now I think it's safe to say if you don't have a computer that's strong enough to de-noise footage, I don't think I'd recommend shooting in ProRes Raw. The in-camera and regular ProRes recordings look really good, and you don't have to stretch the footage much to get really nice looking filmic qualities to it, which is why I really adore Olympus cameras. There is a little difference when comparing in-camera and regular ProRes. There's a little bit of a color difference, but it's not major at all. I show a little later. Sharpness and noise look identical. This is true at every ISO and exposure value. Here I show the little color shift. I'm not clear as to why this happens. I tried different settings on my Ninja V and it's the same color shift. And here's all three formats. I do have to note that ProRes Raw is the most color accurate of the group. Another few things to consider if you decide to shoot in ProRes Raw on the Olympus OMD E-M1 Mark III. Auto ISO is available if you choose to use it, and again, ISO 400 is the minimum value. When you're recording both in-camera and in regular ProRes simultaneously, you can't change the ISO while recording. You can change the ISO while recording to the Ninja V while not simultaneously recording in-camera. This is true when shooting in ProRes Raw as well. There's no difference when you set ISO at a certain value and change it in post versus recording at an ISO value. The last thing to note is when shooting in ProRes Raw, the noise is so bad that it can affect the focus peaking. The biggest benefit of shooting in ProRes Raw is color information, depth, and flexibility. Since it is raw, you can convert the footage to a different log profile from another camera company much easier. Using the built-in camera LUTs is also much more receptive, and this makes matching footage so much easier. Changing ISO in post is an advantage, as this gives you greater control over the footage you just shot. You can even go down to those lower ISO values that were not available while shooting. I hope this helps you. Thanks for watching and have a great day.